What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? How y'all doing? It's me, your Jesus loving Jersey girl. And guess what? Okay, can y'all keep a secret? Like for real. Can y'all keep a secret? If you notice, I'm in the pastor's chair. Woo, it's a takeover about to happen now. All right. So how y'all doing? It's another Wednesday and we are excited that you have joined us on today. And we are looking for you, as usual, to text somebody, call somebody, let them know that we are live on our YouTube channel and that we are ready to have a conversation with Pastor Sam, maybe or maybe not. So, as per usual, let me get some housekeeping things out of the way. We want you to text somebody, call somebody, let them know to like us, share us, and subscribe to us. We are still trying to get those 1,000 subscribers. We need your help. We need your help. We need your help. So, make sure you get somebody on the line on tonight to join in the conversation. Remember, be participatory in the conversation. When you do that, make sure conversationalist. You can go to our website and check us out in our living stream store and cop you that merch. We want you to get that merch that says you're a conversationalist, right? And as we go from there, what we need you to do. Anyway, what we need you to do is to make sure that you are participating in the live chat. If for some reason you don't want to do that, then we have a number that you can contact us at 732-723-8275 and make sure you send us your text message there and we'll make sure that your question and or your comment gets responded to. So also, last but not least, you can take the conversation with you. Remember, we're available wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and we're on Level Up Radio. So look on those platforms, subscribe even there to our channel, and make sure that you click the notifications bell so you can be notified every time a conversation is uploaded to those platforms. Okay, y'all ready? Y'all said y'all can keep a secret, right? I'm in the big seat. The pastor is not here because we are taking over. It's me, your Jesus loving Jersey girl, and I'm in the studio with the licentiate.
Hey. The first lady's trying to get me in trouble. I don't know how I got a part of this deal. Take over the studio. Pastor Hayes, I love you. I'm telling you, she bullied me. And I don't know what to do. So I need y'all to pray
you scared now. You didn't say that when I was telling you to do it. You got all you scared now.
Well, I'm a little hesitant about being in the seat on this side.
Oh my goodness.
But pray for me as we.
Oh my goodness.
First lady, just, I don't know what she's selling me. She's selling goods that she got right now. But I bought it, and now I'm gonna have to suffer the consequence. Mm-hmm. So pray for me.
Anyway, so tonight we are taking over, and we're gonna have a conversation with you about secrets. Y'all said y'all could keep one. I mean, I guess the pastor will eventually see this, but until then, it's just between us. All right. We're going to talk about secrets. But before we get into this good conversation, I'm going to ask the licentiate to pray tonight.
All right.
And then we'll come back to me and we'll set the stage for this conversation about secrets.
All right, First Lady. Eternal God, our Father, we come to you this evening to say thank you. We thank you, God, for this first Wednesday in October, for allowing us to see another month, and we are grateful for it. Father and our God, we just are grateful for our pastor and our First Lady and every member of our church. We ask, God, that your continued blessings upon each and every one of them. God, allow this conversation tonight to open up those secrets that we have hid so long, that we actually start to do the work to uncover and get to the root of them. Right now, in the name of Jesus, move in our lives each and every day, and we would be so honored to give you all the glory and the honor that you so rightfully deserve. This we ask in your name. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank Almighty God.
Thank you, Almighty
Amen.
God. Amen. All right, listen. So I know you all are probably saying, hey, we had a conversation once before about secrets, and we did. But this is going to be taken from a whole nother perspective. Licentiate are going to have a conversation about how secrets can bring dysfunction into the unit, whether it's a family unit, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a church body. your work relationships, and not only how they can bring dysfunction into the unit, but be used even as a manipulative tool to further separate people. So I know if you think about your own life's experiences and you think about secrets, there are some secrets that I find that are acceptable, licentiate. I think there are secrets that are good to keep when you're trying to surprise somebody, right?
Like
If you want to give, yeah, a birthday party and or a big celebration or a let me see, a bridal shower, a baby shower,
Right.
whatever. Those occasions to me, secrets are really okay to keep at that moment because I think at the end of the day, that type of secret is joyful for everybody,
Right.
right? But then
Or
there
if
are
I won the lottery, I don't want to tell everybody that. That's a
oh,
secret I'm going to keep.
you gonna keep that
I'm going to
secret?
keep that secret. If I hit that Powerball,
You know what?
I'm just saying everyone may not know about that winning.
But wait, in the state of New Jersey, don't you have to tell it?
No, you don't.
Oh, they changed that rule?
Well, it depends. It does depend on which lottery. If it's Mega Millions, Powerball. But I got a way around that. But I'm not going to get into that right now.
Here we go.
That's a secret I'm going to keep.
But what the one you just let out the bag is that you are definitely a lottery player.
It's all right.
All right. I don't know about that. We're going to ask the pastor when he comes back. But listen, y'all. So to that point, though, those secrets to me are okay, right? Because, again, they bring joy. But then there are those secrets that are not. Secrets that are detrimental to someone, secrets that are harmful, secrets that are hurtful, secrets that we tend to keep thinking we're protecting somebody from some sense of, a harm, right? But in all actuality, the longer we keep the secret, the worse it gets. The longer we keep the secret, the harder it even gets to hold on to it. I have to believe that when you hold on to secrets that are like that at some point in your life, you feel as though it starts to weigh on you, right? It starts to really become heavy for you to carry and to hold on to. At some point, I think maybe it even causes you discomfort in, sleepless nights or, moments of uncomfortability when you're around the individual or individuals of whom you're trying to keep the secret from. So, when you think about that, are secrets really worth it at the end of the day? Are they worth it? Is having a secret more powerful in a relationship in protecting yourself and others from harm, or revealing secrets, working out the difficulty of the secrets than realizing growth? So in other words, is it more powerful to hold on to the secret, thinking you're protecting somebody from it? And also here's the thing, thinking you're protecting yourself. Because, if you reveal the secret, it may be that persons might be upset with you, right? They might really not want to have a relationship with you anymore. I mean, because these are the things that we think are going to happen when we divulge this information. So a lot of times the stuff that we conjure up in our head, more times than not, usually doesn't happen. But these are the things that we think might happen if we hold on to these secrets, right? We don't want people to be upset with us. We don't want people angry with us.
Right.
So is it more advantageous to hold the secret in self-preservation, or even thinking we're protecting somebody else from the harm? Or is it better to have the conversation and deal with the consequences up front, where you can then handle it at that point? I mean, address it. What you think, licentiate?
Well, of course, I would say it's latter, to have the conversation up front with the person about what you possibly are dealing with. But a lot of times we don't want to have those tough conversations. When you were talking, I was right now, because we're fearful of the reaction of the people, the person or people around us who we're going to tell that secret to.
Right.
And also, you may not have fully accepted what you're dealing with. So if you're still wrestling with it, you may not want to come out and say to a person or people, I'm dealing with it. Although it is, in my opinion, better for us to have that conversation, because, I think we get so caught up in what the reaction is going to be of the person, instead of actually, speaking to the person or people around us who actually might be able to help us in the right direction, because one, they have dealt with it themselves, or they can turn us in a direction who we could talk to help us deal with what we're going through.
But wait, when you say they've dealt with it themselves, what do you mean by that? Doesn't necessarily, Who's that individual?
Well, it could be a parent, could be a
Okay.
spouse. Oh, because I was thinking about sometimes we have generational things that we have kept on for generations instead of, we won't tell the next generation, but we see them going through the same problems. For instance, if I have a problem with money and money management has been a problem for 2 or 3 generations, but let's say my mother never said anything to me about it. She would, as an example, she could have been struggling. I don't know anything about it, but now she should tell me, we've had a history of money management, and maybe you should see a financial planner to help you out with the money management.
Okay.
So I think a lot of times we don't say anything. So in that example, she may not say anything to me because she may be fearful I'm going to judge her about how she managed her money. So I think, to your point, if we hit it head on instead of waiting for someone to go into the pitfall and actually start having these conversations and say, look, I got a problem with money. You might have one too.
Right.
So let's actually go see someone together for us to address the issues that we're going on. But we'd rather sometimes keep it to ourselves because we're so fearful of the judgment or the stigma that might be placed on us managing our money incorrectly.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, for me, like if it's a situation of money, let's stick with that example for a moment. So you saying that a parent wasn't a good financial didn't have good fiduciary handling of money. Am I saying that right? Y'all understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So that person was unable to really handle their finances in a way that was good for them. And eventually, maybe, are we saying that they have come out of it now? Or, are they still dealing with that situation in your example?
I mean, I would say they're still dealing with the example. So let's say, as I said, the parent and the child.
Okay.
If you see your parent still borrowing money from folks.
Okay.
And then you have a pattern of borrowing money from folks, then no one has overcome the problem of borrowing money. Or as you said, the fiduciary responsibility of handling the money.
Okay.
So that's the type of, and so as a parent, if you're keeping that secret that I'm not a good manager of money, but you see your child also exhibiting the same things that I have, and you never want to sit down and address it. You want to see your child, not saying you want to, but you see your child going down that same track that you're on right now.
So here's the thing, though. Part of that problem for me would be that the person has to acknowledge they have a problem.
Right. Well, that's true.
Sometimes I think what ends up happening is we don't like to acknowledge that we have a problem, or we turn a blind eye to the problems that we have. This kind of is an area that we have difficulty with across a plethora of situations in our lives, no matter what it is, right? Just if you want to be better, you have to be, you know how I like to say, deliberate and intentional about being better, right? But you have to recognize that you have an issue. And in recognizing you have an issue, then thereby seeking out the help that you desire in order to become better, right? So so that's one secret, right? We're talking about the fact that I'm holding it. Really, in all honesty, is it really a secret? Because if your child sees you in your irresponsible manner of handling money, it's not really a secret, right?
Not unless you're telling them that
you just don't want
money right.
Okay.
And they think you are.
Okay.
And really not. You could have a whole boatload of credit card debt.
Yeah.
And they don't know that because they're benefiting from. I'm getting new shoes. I'm getting a new car. I'm benefiting from it, but. The parent is struggling with this money, and then you, as a child, get a credit card, running things up. You're benefiting from it, but there's really a problem overall.
Okay, so then now let's bring another aspect of this secrecy thing. What if we have some real, I'm talking about some sure enough doozies. Y'all know the stuff that y'all like to watch on TV with the haves and the have-nots and the young and the restless and all of those folks and whatever other the series. This is a series on now saying, oh gosh, there's a new series that just started entitled the kind of people we are, or something along that line. But the fact of the matter is that there's like this major secret that's being withheld, right? And one thing is that, what about when it comes to a secret of the legitimacy of a child, right? Who that parent is, who the daddy is, right? And we holding on to the fact that, Okay, I know this is serious, but I'm going to just put it out there because y'all know the scenarios we see on the TV, right? Is not your husband's, it's the milkman's. All right. And so the fact of the matter is that you're holding on to that, right? And you thinking that it's protecting everybody involved. But there are so many persons that are intertwined in this circle that are going to eventually be hurt, right? Because if you take that scenario and you take pieces of how this can unfold, right? So let's take one piece of how it can unfold. It can unfold with if your child has some type of debilitating disease or something, right, that needs to be addressed, and we have to find out that individual's historical, right, from the parent's perspective, historical record of health, right? What runs in the family and what runs in your family, right?
Right.
But now you can't go to the one who you are misleading and telling that that individual is the father. Now you have to try to find out from the person who the child really belongs to. But what if you never even told that individual that the child belonged to you, right? So when you have that as one of the examples, how do you now turn around and end up, right? How do you turn around now and end up saying something? Because this could be now a matter of what? Life and death. So how do we handle secrets like that? That's just an example, but how do we handle secrets like that? What do you think?
No, well, I would say before I get into the serious point, firstly, you just dated yourself with the milkman thing. Just saying. That storyline is not happening anymore. But you don't have to go deliver it anymore.
I don't know
where you got that from. But I would say to the point is you're right about holding on the secret of paternity is really an issue. Mm-hmm. Because the child does have a right to know who their parent is, regardless of what circumstances the parent had, it didn't work out, how it happened. The child should know where they come from, because you're right, down the line, it does affect in terms of who do you belong to?
Right.
And, and a kid's intuition really, really does come out, because you'll say, what, I don't kind of look like my siblings. I don't kind of look like this person you said has been my parent. And also, again, health issues that, you need to know what the lineage of that family is. So it's important. That's a secret that is not beneficial to hold it from that person. Although you're doing we talked about earlier, you're doing good about, you're thinking you're protecting that person. You're really not protecting the person, because the damage starts to really happen in their teenage years and their adult years, because then they start to feel abandoned. That person maybe, and the person, like to the first lady's point, may have not even known they had a child.
Right.
So now they have been placed into, you're saying I've abandoned you, but no, I didn't abandon you. I didn't know that I had you.
Right.
So it's a lot of damage. There's a lot of moving parts when we don't disclose, because, and I understand there's no handbook for parents, and you're thinking you're making the right decision at that time, but you have to always think globally and futuristically, because.
But let me ask you a question. So in that case, though, are you more concerned about protecting the child and the real dad? Well, you are the father, as Maury would say, or are you more worried about protecting yourself?
I think it's the latter. I think you're more worried about protecting yourself, especially if you're in another relationship and you've told that other person this is your child, and you find out it's not their child. So now you're looking at, okay, possibly my marriage might break up, or the relationship might break up. And so now, to stay face, I'm going to just do it. But what happens in the dark will certainly come to the light.
Amen.
It will surely come out eventually that this has been a secret that you have tried to hide for a long period of time. And guess what? It's coming out. It's going to come out. And there's so much of that example about parents not disclosing who their child's parent, their biological parent is.
Right.
You may have had a falling out. Just use an example. I know this is a extreme example, but I like Law and Order SVU. And if anyone knows that storyline, Olivia Benson, she was a product of a rape. Her mother was raped, and so she never wanted to say who her father was. And one of the episodes, she finds out who her father is, but she finds out she has a sibling. And she finds out she has a sibling, and she goes to meet this sibling. And the sibling has really, really great memories of the father. Whereas the picture that she has is the father was a rapist. So now you have these two siblings now who now are at friction because I'm not saying what he did was right or wrong, but now you have had this secret of not telling who this person was.
You're going to say what he did was wrong.
Well, what he did was absolutely wrong.
Right. Okay.
But the son said, I never knew my father to be a rapist. So, I mean, again, it's all about how that friction now is coming apart. So she's saying, yeah, well, he is a rapist, but she's still my father, but you're my brother. So now there's so many things with secrets are going on. And the mother didn't tell, and this is like the storyline we were talking about. She didn't tell because, of course, she felt she was violated.
Right.
And she had every right to feel that she was violated. And now she has a child. And also sometimes in that particular scenario, the mother didn't want to deal with her. I mean, you watch the show, but anyway.
Okay.
It's a good show. I just use that as an example. But
okay. So, to your point, that's an extreme example, but those are types of examples that happen, right? We know that also that show in particular is based on like a lot of real life, scenarios.
Absolutely.
So those things happen, and for whatever the reason, at the end of the day, I think that when we withhold information, when we are keeping secrets, when we are by omission, commission, whatever it is. I think that at that point in time, it is more about self-preservation than it is about the other individual. Right. So then now it's time to get to the root of the problem. So why are you so selfish? And this is just my perspective on it. Why are you being so selfish in that you want to preserve yourself, but you have now ruined and or affected 3 other person's lives? You see what I'm saying? Now you've made it bad for other people because, again, like the licentiate said, at the end of the day, the truth will come out. The longer we wait to tell the truth, and this is the thing here, because now we're talking about lying. Right. It's all up under the same umbrella, right? Secrets are lies because when you don't tell the truth, that means you're lying. Right. When you omit information, that means you're lying. So when you don't do that, that means that you're trying to protect yourself from something or someone. Here's the thing. What I always tell the kids is this. I have a right as a parent to be angry. That's my right. As a parent, anybody out there who is a parent, you all know this to be true. It is our God-given right to be angry when our children operate outside of the way in which we know they were A, raised, in which we know B is the truth, right? So when a child is acting out of pocket, when they are doing things that are totally destructive, and remember, here again, we've often said this, right? Every choice, every decision, everything that we do affects everybody around us, and especially our family members, right? So when you're out here and you're making decisions and you're making choices and believing that the reason why you're doing it is because you're grown and you are being selfish, and you're not thinking about the other individual. You're not thinking about the effect it's going to have on your parents. You're not thinking about the effect it's going to have on your siblings. You're not thinking about the effect it's going to have on anybody else who is connected to you. You're just concerned about preserving yourself, and I don't want to hear their mouth, so I'm not going to say anything. Well, at the end of the day, whether you tell me today or you tell me 10 days from now or a whole year from now, trust me, the intensity of the response gets worse the longer you wait. Right. And especially if I got to find out from somebody else and I didn't hear from you. Go ahead.
No, that's right. I mean, that part about selfish is important. We always want to think about ourselves. But also, parents or siblings or friends, you know when someone's not acting themselves.
Right.
You know when they're acting out of character.
That's right.
Even down to a family secret. You may not know the secret, but you know something's going on.
Right.
And so
the hush, the hush is the whisper. As soon as you walk in the room, everybody get quiet.
So we already know there's something going on. So instead of, I would say, get out in front of it instead of letting people speculate on what it actually is.
See, I like that. I like that. I like that. Get out in front of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I like about that? It's because then you have stolen the other person's thunder.
And their power.
Then you you now are in control. And so you maintain the power of it. You want to be in control. You want to have the power. You can have it if you just get out in front of it, like the licentiate said.
Right, because people will start to make this whole narrative that it's absolutely not true.
Mm-hmm.
But had you just got out there and say, this is what I'm doing, this is the secret that I have or whatever, right now you can think what you want to think, but this is what's going on with me. But rather we hold it in, and then people start dropping nuggets of what they think happens, and then it's the story's all wrong, and that wasn't the initial secret. But instead of like the first thing you said, instead of us telling the truth, we rather keep the lie. Whereas if we tell the truth will what? Set you free.
Set you free.
The lie that you are sitting in is causing you chaos. It's causing you confusion. It's causing you sleepless nights. It's causing you to think that someone's going to find out about it, and what are they going to think about me? Those are things that happen when you keep the secret. But if you tell the truth and say, look, this is what it is. I'm telling you from my mouth to your ears. This is what I'm dealing with. I'm sorry.
Can't nobody tell my story better than me.
That's it. I'm the one who's got to deal with this. So what's the point of me keeping these layers of lies when I can tell the truth and walk away? Because the lie you're going to remember.
Well, this is what I was going to say. The pastor always says, right? He always says to us is that I much rather tell the truth, because a lie, trying to remember a lie, it's hard, right? And the fact of the matter is 10 years from now, I could tell you the same story when I'm telling you the truth. Right. And what you said was really interesting in that two things. One, with parents, when we ask y'all questions, we already know the answer. Let the record reflect, as you say.
I know that's right.
We already know the answer. Right. We're just waiting to see if you're going to finally tell us the truth. Right. That's first. The second part of that is that you said this is my story. This is what it is. This is how you outline whatever it is. This is what you just said, right? And you tell it how you want it out there. You tell it how you want it to be shared and told. This is what I'm doing, and that's me. That's me.
Yeah, right.
Here's my thing, though. That's where the problem comes in. Because if you were doing something that you were okay with doing,
you wouldn't have a problem telling
you wouldn't have no problem telling it.
You're right. I don't dispute that. I'm just saying that if you're right, that's if you were comfortable in it, you wouldn't have a problem sharing it.
Right.
Is when you're not comfortable in it.
Right.
That's where the lies, the chaos, the sleepless nights, and the fear that someone's going to find out. And then when the person finds out, will I be rejected? Will I be isolated? Will I be removed? But rather to say I come out and say this is where it is, because I am who I am in this particular, we're dealing with this secret.
Right.
So, but a lot of times, again, back to that selfish piece, we all get to that point that says, I'm going to do me, I'm going to do what I want to do, and guess what? You just have to deal with it. But again, the First Lady always says, and she tells us this all the time, and I use this even in my professional career, I can't make one decision and think it's not going to have an effect on things down the line.
That's right.
Because if I say you get to leave 5 minutes early because I like you, and then the next person comes in and I say no, guess what? That's going to be a problem. So whatever I decide, I know that my decision is going to affect everyone. It's just not about me, because I like the person. I'm going to say leave 5 minutes early, because guess what? I'm going to have a whole issue with the other person. So you got to remember what you're doing does affect, and it changes, as we talked about last week, that triangle. It starts to affect that, because you're thinking about yourself and not thinking about everyone. I'm not saying you cannot live your life, because we all are living our lives, but we understand
just live your life.
Right. So you're living your life, but understand that your life is connected to other people.
Yep.
And we want to see you do your best, live your best, but tell the truth in living your best.
Amen. Because listen, when you keep secrets, so here's the thing about secrets too. When you talk about that, you just said that what it does is that, it makes for uncomfortable nights, right? Sleepless nights, lying. One lie turns into another lie, into another lie, into another lie. And all of those things are not of God.
That's right.
We have to bring it back center in that all of those things are not of God, because one thing that we understand is that God is not the author of confusion.
That's right.
Right? Confusion existed in the person of the devil, right? And he was cast out of heaven.
Father of lies.
Okay. Right. And it said that when you lie, that's who you serve, your father of lies, right? And your father is the adversary, is the devil. And so what we're trying to explain is that when you hold on to secrets and when you don't tell persons the truth, and I'm telling you, secrets are still yet when you are leaving out a little piece. So I'm going to do something really simplistic, okay? You asked the licentiate, what you doing today? And the licentiate responds, okay, I'm going to run some errands. Okay, but you want to know more specifically what's he doing. So you ask him again, so what you doing today? And he hems and haws about what he's going to do. But then he finally tells you, okay, no, I got to go get my hair cut today, right? But in all actuality, and that could be one of the things that he wants, that he is going to do. But in all actuality, what he did was he omitted telling you that he was going to, Dairy Queen and then going to the mall or going to, wherever, because he really didn't want you to know that part. So I want people to really, and that's a real simplistic analogy, but I'm saying it because I want all of us to really consider and think about, even when we omit information, it's still holding on to something we don't want somebody to know. Well, you understand what I'm saying?
I totally agree. And the word I would use for that, First Lady, is deception.
Yeah, that's good.
Because we are telling there was an episode of College about half-truths. Mm-hmm. It's a half-truth. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm running errands, but like she just said, I didn't, and now, of course, some people could argue, well, you didn't ask me specifically what errands, where am I going? Mm-hmm. But if I know I'm going to be doing something,
I ask you, and you just be like, I don't know.
Well, first lady.
I do say that. I'm saying, why y'all in my business right now? I'm going out here. If you must know, going to the Dairy Queen.
Don't be out here in these streets doing me.
Yes, right. But it is absolutely, they're absolutely correct. But it's a level of deception when we are not fully disclosing. And I think that what happens a lot of times in society is that
don't lose your train of thought. Okay. What happens a lot of times in society? All I just want to add to that point is, honestly, a lot of times I ain't really trying to be in your business like that. Seriously, like when it gets down to when as a parent, right? And I'm talking about my daughters in particular, even my sons too. But when we get down to asking questions, it's only out of concern, for real. Like, I mean, I don't want to share my location because I don't want you knowing where I am. Trust me when I tell you, I have access to locations and I don't even look at them. My only concern, and most of us as parents, our only concern is I have access to your location. If, God forbid, something were to happen, I can try to find a way to track you. That's it.
All right.
That's it. It's all I'm concerned. We always so secretive about everything we got going on because we think that our parents are so nosy and want to know every little aspect about our lives. Trust me when I tell you, we're grown. We got and want our own lives. Believe me when I tell you, and we got enough stuff going on our own. We don't need to be all up in yours like that. But when we find out that you don't tell us the truth, right? When we find, I don't care what relationship you're in, right? And we're just talking about parental and children relationships. But I'm talking about work relationships. I'm talking about church relationships. When we don't tell people the truth and we keep these secrets from each other, it's detrimental, right? It's detrimental. What happens a lot of times in society.
No, I agree. And there was a story several years back about a man from the state of Missouri, I believe. I was just reading all day because it was the anniversary. Mm-hmm. And he was suing because he did not get into law school. I can't think of his name right now, but I will know it next week. Mm-hmm. And he sued the college because they were not integrating the law school.
Okay.
And so the NAACP got involved and they had made the case, and there was a lot of pressure with him making this case. And they said the young man was known for just getting up and walking away. And, he would go off for long periods of time. So he didn't want to go through with the law case. And he walked away, and his family said, we're accustomed to him doing this. And now it's been over, maybe like 50 or 60 years.
Okay.
And he hasn't come back. Well, he hasn't come back. And the reason I say that is because what the First Lady said is so important. We're so caught up in trying to preserve our secrecy But sometimes it places us into a place where when you do walk away, people have no concern for you whatsoever. But if you just tell somebody, if you're not doing anything, if you're not doing, let's tell the truth. If you're not doing anything that you know, if you're not doing anything, you should have no problem telling someone, I'm going out. If you're going out with your girlfriend and you know what,
I want you to remember this when I ask you who you're going out with.
I know. Well, your parents don't know, and you may not be ready to say, but you know you can say what I'm going to start to say. There's a person of interest.
Here we go.
And that I'm going out with because so they want. At least I am now disclosing. Now I don't have to necessarily say her name, but I will say there's a person.
You know me, I am going to ask. But okay.
The first lady, because I know her, she usually goes a little bit further and tries to, well, what's her name? What she do? All that stuff. But I understand the concern, and one day when I'm a parent, I will say the same thing because it is. And there was another story recently. Someone went missing, and I'm thinking to myself, those parents will never know where their child is. And I'm not. You never know. In that moment of us being deceptive because we are afraid of the judgment that maybe their parents are going to say about who we may be hanging out with. At the end of the day, that shouldn't matter because if I got a phone call, I can say to the police, "Well, you know what? They told me they were going out with this person. They were going this place. You may want to go back and check cameras, text messages, and things of that nature." I'm not as a parent showing up to that place.
Exactly.
But I want to just know where I can tell somebody where you are.
Exactly. And that's, to me, that's the key right there because we hear like way too, like, unless I'm just more attentive now to news stories like that, we hear more news stories now about persons, being abducted or persons missing. And here's the thing, while the police usually say they need to be absent, depending on age and stuff, right? Absent for 24 hours before because, they're just teenagers or they're kids, or maybe they just don't want you to know because they're grown, whatever the case may be. But we have patterns, right? And this is how we know a lot of times, to Licentious' point earlier, where he says that, there are certain ways that we behave and we respond, we react when people know something is not right, right? And so I know that my children have patterns, and I know my friends have patterns. Like people that you are in relationship with have patterns. I know my husband has patterns. And so when that pattern changes, it makes you wonder. You start to ask questions. And then when the secrecy is, they really don't want to share, or I don't want to talk now. That's the other thing, that's the other thing. I don't want to talk now, or I'll talk about it some other time. Well, here's the thing. When and if something happens like that, where people have now, like when we're accustomed to you operating in a certain way, God forbid something happens that's outside of that norm. Now we know that it's time for us to be concerned and that we can get ahead of it a lot faster because, as we know, historically or scientifically, it's the first 48 hours that's the most important, right? In recovering somebody. Interestingly enough, we read a story not too long ago about an individual who was abducted as a kid and was now 30 years later, and they found her. Thank God, alive. But imagine now that whole dynamic and how that goes down. Here's the thing. Instincts matter too, right? So like you said, when people have these secrets and they're holding them back from their children and they're holding them back from their loved ones, it's something. God is so awesome. I'm going to say that again. God is so awesome that he imputes through the Holy Spirit, right? Those feelings of a nudging. Ask that question. Find that out. See about, right? Because I believe that God wants us to be exposed to the truth. We got to stop feeling, y'all, like we can't tell the truth. Like we said, because we're self-preserving. And not caring about what another person is going through and or how that's going to affect them. Let me tell y'all a really personal story right now. So my father's deceased, right? I started having some health issues here within the last, year, 2 years, right? And I talked to my mom, but interestingly enough, because I never really had a real deep relationship with my father, and we were cool, but I didn't really know him like that. We were cool. And I say know him. I mean, I didn't know him from like growing up. When he left, I was 6. Okay. So the relationship that we had was sporadic. It was whenever he would show up, if he'd show up. I finally got over the fact that I used to ask for this doll for Christmas and it never got to the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was always a promise of I'll do it, and it didn't happen. But I say all of that to say that now when checking out family history, because you know how you go to the doctor and you have to fill out paperwork and they ask you familial history. They want to know about your parents, your mom and your dad. What did they have? What did this one have? Is your maternal grandmother or your paternal grandmother? All of this stuff. I can never answer questions based upon the paternal part because I didn't know. So that leaves me in a lurch because everybody on the maternal side is like, no, nope, nothing, nope. So now it makes me think, and this is why I kind of use that analogy about health issues and stuff. It's because I've experienced that. So now I have to ask the question, but I don't have him to ask the question of. And both his parents are gone. So who do I talk to? Right? I had to do some research and I found some, now they were his sister's kids. So who that that makes them my aunts, right? Is that right? Okay.
Cousins, right?
They're my father's nieces.
That's your cousin.
They make me, okay, they're my cousins.
All right, help for Lord. Help for Jesus.
So I reach out. I thank God, and this is why I'm in such awe of God and how He works stuff out. Because the only way I got connected to these cousins was at my father's funeral, and we exchanged phone numbers, and I had those numbers, and I kept those numbers, and so finally the Lord tapped me, that little nudging I was talking about, and said, "Call them." And I called them and I had to tell them, I need you to disclose for me all that you know. Like, don't hold back. Don't hold secrets, because these families of ours like to not tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It's like a stigma. It's like shame attached to a family when, something is going on and nobody ever wants to share. This stuff matters because it might not come up in that particular season, but later on down the line when little cuz is X amount of years old, this is going to happen. She needs to know this information.
That's right.
Right? But if you don't tell it to your children, if your children don't tell it to you, how do we solve life's issues within the family and in any relationship if we're holding on to secrets? I don't want to tell them that Uncle Bill is really daddy.
Which happens a lot.
And then you run the risk of, when they meet Uncle Bill's distant cousin and thinking that they could talk to them or they, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? We've seen that stuff happen too.
And that's how they find out.
Where you meet, and you go get these blood tests and all of a sudden it's like, well, hold up, wait a minute, what's going on? Somebody need to start talking up in here.
Right.
Tell us what's happening, because now you getting ready to marry your first cousin or you getting ready to marry, brother. So who knows? It's crazy.
That's the truth. I mean, the secrets are detrimental and they affect us in so many ways. And when we think that, for us to keep the secret is helping, it really is hindering. And also, I think a lot of times people don't want to tell stuff because they're afraid of the reaction they're going to get. But that's
okay.
That's what I was about to say. I mean, the reaction, eventually the person will get over it. And if they don't, that's their issue.
Thank you.
So I can't live I cannot continue to live on determining how that person is going to operate. If I tell you something, you react, you're upset. Okay, I'll give you a few moments or a few days, whatever you need. But you know what? I have to tell you, because I cannot continue to live in this secret, because again, like you said, that marriage one though is really important, because a lot of times we don't tell our family who's related to who.
Yep.
And you're across you can go across the country and meet somebody and find out that y'all are cousins, and you didn't even know about it.
That's right.
I mean, so,
or siblings.
So stop, not sharing, stop holding the secret. Essentially, that's it. Stop holding the secret and let the truth set you free. And whatever the reaction that you may get from someone, they will get through it. They will work through it. But guess what? You are not now holding on to that. You're not having those sleepless nights. You're not going to be in that chaos because you now don't have to remember to lie. But I can just go ahead and just tell the truth. Yep. That's where we have to be. We have to just tell the truth. And I know people say, well, that's easier. No, it really is easy. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? When you are building these secrets and keeping these secrets, you are continually making stories. Your mind is going rampant. And then what happens? You can't remember what you told one person to the next. That's what's important.
Can I tell that? Yeah. Can I tell you? Can I tell you for real? That is like, so I like murder mysteries. I like mysteries and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I like to solve things like that. I watch all those kind of shows like Murder, She Wrote, Jessica Fletcher, Monk and Columbo. I mean, they old school stuff, but I like them because I always, even though I've probably seen almost every episode, the fact is that I watch them like I'm watching them for the first time because I literally look to see where I missed the clue. Like I want to see, when did the clue really show up? What did they see that I didn't see, right? But I say that to say that, to your point about, having to hold on to stuff, it's like remembering what you say to somebody is important. But because you're trying to, keep a secret, right? You tell one person who you believe, right? You can sort of be a little bit more honest with, and even you not telling them the whole story. Right. And then you talk to the other person and then you tell them only what you think that they want to hear. That's another thing. Stop telling folk what they want to hear and just tell them what it is, right? And then this way, you don't have the issue. Yes, again, going back to my point before about being a parent and being able to be angry, that's my right? But every time I've been angry and said my piece,
you got over it.
I got over it. Mm-hmm. It's so much easier to handle it that way as opposed to holding on to something. And here's the other thing, and I think I made a little bit of a reference to it earlier. Don't let me find out from somebody else. To me, that's the worst thing, to find out. And that's the other thing, like those parental secrets and all of that stuff that you keep from your loved ones. And of course, somebody walks in the house and, oh, Bob, did you tell so-and-so they were adopted? It's like,
that's devastating right there.
That's devastating. Right? People, yes, I get it. Adoption is something that we people do, and it's nothing wrong with it. We've got to learn how to take the stigma out of things. Right. And the only way you take the stigma out of something is when you empower yourself in the truth of it and make it positive as opposed to negative. There are so many children in the world who need good homes and families who want to raise them and help them and to steer them and guide them, right? There's so many instances like that. There's so many women on the earth that have fertility issues that I've been hearing more and more about, but have the desire to have a child. Well, you know what? You can go and adopt the kid, right? And you can do that, and you can give that love to somebody who needs it. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with explaining to a child when they come to an age of understanding. And I don't mean 18 and 19, because a kid can understand a whole lot sooner than that, and explain to them that they are adopted, but that, it's even more special because we got to choose each other for real. That's right. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's so many ways you can make secrets, if you will, have less of a sting
if you just go on.
If you just go ahead and you tell the truth.
And we got the ultimate example with God.
Come on now.
He told everyone he was going to send his son.
Well,
and exactly what was going to happen to his son. This is a father who knew what he was sending his son to do, and he didn't hide it. He didn't sugarcoat it. He told you exactly what was going, and it was gruesome. What was going to happen to him, that people were going to turn on him and deny him, and they were going to kill him. And yet he still did it for us. So if God can go ahead and tell us the truth about his own child, knowing that he's sending him out here who's going to be killed, why are we holding stuff in?
Well, not minimizing the Jesus scenario, right?
Right.
But even to the point that God tells us the same about us.
Absolutely.
We're going to
Absolutely.
be persecuted, right?
Absolutely.
We are
That's
going
right.
to be talked about. The
Mhm.
people are going to look at us a certain way because we are His, and He let us know up front those things were going to happen in our lives. So why are we so surprised, right? But to another place about secrets, let me just suggest to us that generationally, folk, you know, we tend to unfortunately hold secrets that we think are better kept than not.
Mhm.
And I'm going to put this disclaimer out there, and I don't know everybody's secret, but I've heard enough of the scenarios to know that it never turns out good. Um, I don't like to be lied to. I don't know too many people that do. Um,
Because even if the secret is not, we don't think is big, the lie that was told hurts us more than the actual truth.
There you go. Did y'all hear that? Go ahead, say that again.
So, although we may think the secret is big, the lie that we have built and that we have built for many, many years actually is more devastating than the actual secret. Because now I don't even know if I can trust you. So now it's going to be a whole of things that are happening, a ripple effect that has happened after you have told me. Had you just told me the secret, okay, it is what it is. But now that you have lied for years, now that you have, not even you have lied, you have included other
people
who are part of the lie. So
yes.
now when I find out the truth, can I trust anybody who knew the lie? Because no one was bold enough to go ahead and tell me the truth. So when we think that we're holding something and we're keeping it to ourselves and that it's going to be beneficial to someone, no, it's not. It's actually hurting us in the long run. Tell the truth. The truth will set you free. The truth will and once you have told the truth and the person is dealing with it, they can go get help. They can seek some assistance to deal with the actual secret. But if you have built this secret up for years and years and years, guess what? It's going to have a really detrimental effect once a person finds out.
Yeah, and then to that point, here's the thing, y'all. At the end of the day, not only does the truth set you free, but for me, you don't even have to hold the secret there by the lie for years. The moment you tell it to me, I'm upset.
Right.
Right? because here's the thing. It's like, know me well enough to know that I'm not so shallow as to it's not going to stop me from loving you. And it's certainly not going to stop me from caring about you. And if we're in relationship, our relationship is not going to end because you have something that you did or didn't do that needs to be shared with me. I think we have to have respect for people. We have to know the persons who we are in relationship with. And in knowing them, then we should know their responses. And so somebody might say, well, yeah, I know your response. I know you're going to go way off, and that's cool. But you've also known that I've not held a grudge, and you've also known that I have gotten, like you said, over it. So the point of the matter is respect and have enough respect for people who you say you love and let them know what the real deal is so as to not have them blindsided, because that's the point to which you said, about seeking help. If you really, truly want help, I mean, y'all really listen to this. If you really, truly want help, y'all know my favorite two words are being deliberate and intentional. If you really, truly want help, if you really, truly want to be better, if you really, truly want to be set free, if you want to be delivered, right? You have to be deliberate and intentional about your participating in your healing, your deliverance, and in your growth.
That's right.
And so every time anybody came to Jesus and asked to be cleansed of a disease, asked to be delivered from some bondage, he always responded with, your faith has made you whole.
That's right.
You have to know people well enough to know that they are not so shallow as to discard you
Say that.
because of something that was wrong, because only thereby for the grace of God go any of us. And I'd like to just share with you that when you are honest and when you're open, people can help you, right? Because you can't go seeking help and lying, because when you lie, the individual who has been commissioned to help you is giving you false information, and it's false because it's based on a lie.
That's right.
When you go seek therapy, you can only seek therapy if you're going to be honest about the whole, not just about their part. I need you to be culpable about your part. You need to have some accountability about the action and role you played in the scenario. We have to be 1,000% deliberate and intentional about telling the truth, especially when you're seeking the help of someone to help you. When you're looking for assistance, for help, the information I give you, if you're lying to me, is not going to work. It's not going to be beneficial. It's not going to solve your problem, and it may make it worse because I'm basing what I'm thinking you're telling me as truth, and it's not. I'm basing my advice to you on a lie and not something that is true. Tell people the truth.
No, I would agree. I would say, to that, when a lawyer, a defense attorney is preparing their defense for their client, they always ask, please tell me exactly what happened. Because you can't prepare a defense. And the same thing with a prosecutor, you cannot prepare a case unless you have all the information, all the evidence, so that you can let the jury and judge know. And so at the end of the day, disclose it all. Disclose it, because at the end of the day, either on either side, it's going to help you.
That's right.
Get to the end if you disclose exactly what it is that you're dealing with.
That's right. So, listen, we took the studio over.
Yes.
And I bet not find out that y'all told the pastor. That has completely just put the whole argument about what we talked about out the window.
Absolutely.
Nah, we gonna let the pastor know we did what we did. Come on, y'all. Y'all know ain't no way in the world the name of this program is The Conversation with the Pastor. And he not know. Okay. So we absolutely will make sure that we know. Any final thoughts on this licensure before we roll up out of here?
I would just say, like I said earlier, what is done in the dark will come to the light. Disclose everything and release yourself today of that bondage that's been holding you down, that lie, that secret, whatever. And just go ahead and tell and live in your truth. That's it.
Amen. Amen. So listen, y'all, we hope that you enjoyed this takeover. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation with us. We're going to change the name of the show today. It's a conversation with the Jesus-loving Jersey girl and the licentiate.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all don't tell the pastor we said that either. Okay. Listen, I always leave with a closing thought, right? Thank you so much for engaging with us on tonight. We are so grateful. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for your questions and the responses that we are shooting out to you tonight. We're doing those in the chat as we go along. As you live chat, we'll be responding to you in real time that way, as opposed to just calling it out right on air right now. So we just want you to remember that it's always better to not hold on to a secret, because at the end of the day, holding on to a secret really does not just damage to the individuals, and you're thinking you're preserving yourself, but it does you great harm too. Because at some point in time, if you are a halfway decent person, which I believe most of us are, that thing is going to eat up at you. It's going to eat away at you. Every time you see the people that you're trying to keep the secret from, it's going to in some way kick you in the gut, right? Especially because they are believing that all is well and everything is exactly as you've shared it, and it's not. When we keep secrets, we hurt people. When we keep secrets, it's detrimental to person's health. We know so many scenarios where we can say that has happened too, right? Not disclosing that you have something, and then you not disclosing you have COVID, and lying even that you've taken the vaccine and you didn't, right? And then you're in the presence of those who are vaccinated, and they trust you enough that you've told the truth, and then find out later that maybe you are a carrier of it, and then somebody's elderly or health compromised family member is now sick because you held a secret. There's so many avenues that this thing can go, and none of them really good. If it's not a birthday party, if it's not a surprise baby shower, those types of things, don't make it worse for you and for other people. We have to be selfless, and we have to care more about the collective good of us all, and know that the very thing that you think is the worst thing at the end of the day will probably never be the thing that happens if you just tell the truth.
That's right.
So Luke chapter 8, verse 17 says, "For all that is secret will eventually be brought into the open, and everything that is concealed will be brought to light and made known to all." The licentious been saying all evening, what you do in the dark shall manifest in the light. So be full of light already. Let it go. Tell the truth. We'll all get over it. Believe me. For me, the Jesus loving Jersey girl, the licentiate, the absence of the pastor. We love y'all. We out.